big questions that are being asked. A question, questions that are on the top of our mind. Who hates Glenn Beck more, Stu or Glenn's own pancreas? Big questions like, what's with Dan Bongino's face, and why does he keep doing that with it? Also, why doesn't he just switch to Bongholio? That's what everybody calls him now anyways. You're welcome. Thirdly, the great question, the big question, the question almost no one is asking. Why is the left so afraid of Rudy Giuliani? That's okay. And by left, they mean Democrats, I think. Or, I mean, maybe commies fear Rudy Giuliani to the very core. Why is the left so afraid of Rudy Giuliani? Well, I don't know. But if you're referring to people like myself, I think chat room, I think after all this time, I can speak on your behalf a little bit. I'm not afraid of Rudy Giuliani. I am disgusted by him. I think it's an important distinction. I'm afraid he will fart on me, but I avoid him as opposed to panic when he's around. If he comes in, I don't, throw my jacket up like I'm in a fire all of a sudden and dive out a window. He's gross. He obviously engages in some crime stuff, and he's a huge letdown in terms of America's mayor in that regard. That he once held that title and then pissed it away. But scared of him? No, not scared of him at all. As a matter of fact, I would argue that around January 6th, you might have had a case that some people are afraid of the impact he might have on our country. Now, no one gives a fuck. Nobody. Honest to God, like literally, if you tried to pick someone who was a major figure a couple of years ago, people are less afraid of Rudy Giuliani than they are of Donald Trump, and they're not afraid of Donald Trump anymore. People are grossed out by him. People are disgusted by him. People are concerned about the impact he might have on some like sponge-brained psychopaths who might snap and go lone wolf. But on an individual level, the fuck are you talking about? Now, that said, yeah, tuck in your own fucking shirt. I'm not afraid of Rudy Giuliani because I'm not a 15-year-old girl alone in a hotel room with him. That kind of a person would be completely within their a reasonable range of emotion, to be frank, for them to be scared of him. If the door was locked, fuck yes. Even if even if he just his breath alone would be a frightening notion. Much less if he tries to whip his crank out or fart on you and give you a disease. So I just made my own. I think I just threw up in my own mouth, metaphorically. All right. So, and this is Joey Pags over here. Joey Pags has got something. He's got a guy. Now, I don't know, and you don't know why. Who knows? Who can say? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I don't know why I went from like Scarface to Jim Ignatowski, but I think they're actually much more aligned than you give them credit for. First, you get the money. Then, you get... All right. I know no one else gives a fuck. I know. That's not a blue microphone. That's a blue stand. Blue is a brand of microphone. Fuck is wrong with you? Anyways, all right, here we go. It's not my business. Not my business. I just get it all wrapped up. Okay, here we go. So I want to know, you want to know, what do we know?
Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Glad to have America's mayor back on. Go to RudyGiulianiCS.com. It's, of course, Rudy Giuliani.
CS.com stands for common sense. Used to be the name of his show that he doesn't do anymore, insofar as I know.
Rudy, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm fine, Joe. How are you?
I'm living...
Suddenly we're all in a Bob Evans listening to Grandpa FaceTime somebody with the sound turned off.
The dream. I'm better now. I just mentioned this a little while ago. I was on with Megyn Kelly today and dropped your name.
Are you about to be arrested? Is my concern. Which one of you is prepping for a frisk?
And I said that you could, in about 2 weeks' time, take down the Biden crime family on a RICO charge. Is that true? Would it even take 2 weeks, do you think?
Motherfucker, it's been 3 years. Oh, God. What do you mean 2 weeks? 2 weeks? You've been trying for what? You were the president's lawyer for months during his presidency. If there was ever, all right, 2 weeks, this fuckhead had the hard drive called laptop forever. What do you mean? What?
Well, I mean, honestly, I have it all prepared from 2 years ago.
Right.
So, yeah, it would probably. It's just a matter of putting it in the grand jury. You'd have to put in about 20 or 30 witnesses. But, 2 weeks is doable.
Yeah, sure. That's all he needs. 2 weeks, a grand jury, 20 witnesses, most of whom have already been debunked or have told him to fuck off.
Absolutely. They're all there. The witnesses are all there. The FBI won't interview them.
Well, what do you think they have, the Biden family has on everybody? Because
yeah, they got to have something on everybody, including you, Rudy. They've got stuff on Joey Pags. I mean, if this didn't happen, what have they got on Donald Trump? You were his attorney. You had access to the DOJ. He had all of his own people in there. What does the Biden crime family have on Donald Trump that kept him from unleashing the hounds of freedom and justice upon them?
people like you and me were motivated people. We came up middle class, worked our asses off, got ourselves somewhere. You made a name for yourself because you took down these crime families nobody thought you could take down.
No, nobody thought you would. On behalf of other crime families, fuckhead. And the big mystery of Rudy Giuliani, apparently, is that he attacked the Italian mafia in New York as an Italian to make room for the Chinese and Russian mafia. He didn't wipe out organized crime. He broomed a couple of the Italian families, by the way, more than likely with the blessing of the others, and gave a toehold to the Russians and the Chinese in New York, in Manhattan. Fuck are you talking about? You do realize, all right, I'm fine. I'm going to be all right. I'll be just, give me a second. I'm just got to collect myself because fucking hell. All right. So, can I just start out by saying fuck TMZ and Page 6. Fuck them. They're disgusting people, and they hound people with normal problems as if they should be held to some sort of weird angelic standard. Couples having relationship issues in Hollywood, and they'll fucking follow each one of them around, and oh my God, a cheat, and all that shit. While they all, without fail, TMZ and Page 6 ignored Epstein, ignored Weinstein, ignored Bill Cosby, like one after the five, ignored this fuck, ignored, like Trump shit, just carried Trump's water for him after sexual assault victim comes for years, for decades. They're bugging the fuck out of people who are having marital spats and driving, teenage starlets to alcoholism and bulimia because they're fucking with them all the time. But they let these guys go. They know all about Weinstein. They know all about Cosby. They know all about Trump. They know about Giuliani, and they let it fucking slide. And so when there's a story from either one of them, my primary reaction is fuck you. I don't care. And so the idea that somehow this dickhead, with the criminality that he was involved in covering for during his time as a DA and during his time as mayor, and after, and then his fucking security deals in Eastern Europe. Get the fuck out of here. The vast majority of the criminality that Rudy Giuliani is responsible for in his time on Earth is shit he ran interference for. Get the fuck out of here.
Why doesn't somebody, a young Rudy Giuliani,
There are no young Rudy. If there are any young Rudy Giulianis, they're sitting in front of HR explaining why they will go quietly if they're allowed to resign, but please don't call the police.
jump into action here and make a name for him or herself and go after these corrupt people? What do the Bidens have that's stopping anybody from taking them down?
Well,
what they have is innocence. I mean, honestly, lack of evidence floating around. They got a bunch of flacks going after them, but there ain't shit.
I think one of the reasons they go after me or Trump or
is because you're both pigs, just gross. Just as men, you're awful. That didn't come? Nah, it was my bad. That didn't come up.
Alan Dershowitz and
oh my God! I rest my case. Hold on. This is why do they go after who?
What do the Bidens have that's stopping anybody from taking them down?
Well, I think one of the reasons they go after me or Trump or Alan Dershowitz and they want to frighten other lawyers, saying, "Well, gee, if they can go after some of the most famous lawyers in America."
Okay, hang on. They're not. You're not the most famous lawyers in America. You're actually infamous for being fucking disgusting. Giuliani and his Borat dick tucking in front of a girl he thought was 15 years old. His To Catch a Predator moment in that movie is no fucking surprise to anybody. The like hostile workforce and his old assistant, who he said was his girlfriend when she was just an assistant. He sexually abused her for a long time, literally groomed her because she'd been in a violent, controlling relationship. Used that and wouldn't pay her and all that. That's all still proceeding on its own. That again, that's gross enough. That's why you're famous. He used to be famous for being America's mayor. Now he's famous for being the old guy who tried to get a 15-year-old girl to touch his dick. That's it. And Dershowitz was, in a crowd of, like moderately well-known, gadfly lawyers from a certain generation that would show up on the news and talk about different stuff. But ultimately, the reason people know Dershowitz now is because Jeffrey Epstein owned a $70 million house in New York City, in Manhattan, that he got for $1. $70 million home given to him by one of his clients for $1 that he brought underage girls to and engaged in all kinds of awful there. And he invited Rudy Giuliani over many times, and he invited Noam Chomsky over many times, and he would had like a regular flow through. And when Dershowitz was there, one of the times, this is the only, and believe me, I'm sure it only happened once. He was offered a massage if he would like one, and he accepted. In this man's home, look, tell you what. Feel free, ladies and gentlemen. My address comes up. If you want to send me a gift card to like Massage Etc. or whatever, some like chain or a physical trainer in my town for a session, a flexibility, whatever the hell, knock yourself out. What a lovely notion. If there's a spa I've got to check out and it's nearby and whatever, and you're like, here's $75 towards a massage, or like a steam and shower and massage and a facial and that, like, it's part of a gift bag. Great. But if I come over to your house and you're like, I have a masseuse coming over later, you want to get a massage upstairs? I'm gonna tell you to go fuck yourself. And I even if I know you and I like you, I'm gonna go. No. No. Thank you, though. That's very sweet. No. Jesus Christ. If I didn't get a massage at the Playboy Mansion, I'm not getting it at some dude's house, especially a guy who was convicted of pedophilia and child trafficking. Fuck you. No. Durst said yes. So piss off with this nonsense. And his defense was it was an old Russian lady and I left my underwear on. Okay, first of all, what was her name? You didn't get did you at least tip her because even though the guy might have her on salary, that doesn't mean she's used to dealing with your like, maybe did you get a receipt with her signature on it so we know? Can we see a copy of her licensed massage therapist certificate? Yeah. But this asshole's that's the name he brings in his own name, Donald Trump, notorious New York sleazebag, just scummy to the fucking rafters. The most slovenly example of toxic masculinity that exists is Donald Trump. And then to just fucking throw a cherry on top, he throws in Dersh in the mix. Dershowitz. The fuck? Rudy owes you $1. All right. Okay, here we go.
What am I going to do? I can't tell you how much trouble I've had getting lawyers, particularly in the last 2 years, to help.
Right.
And they want to help, and they believe he's innocent. And they say, I can't do it to my family.
They believe Biden is innocent, and they want to join you in attacking him, but they can't do that to their family, who I guess would disown them for going after an innocent man. The fuck?
I've sat. This is absolutely true. I've sat with lawyers that were crying.
Yeah, well, that's because you farted on her and she got COVID. I've sat with lawyers that are crying, sir. Jesus Christ. Everybody's eyes water when you're in the room, Rudy. It's the sulfur.
I've sat with lawyers who got death threats. Uniformly, their law firms will throw them out because the clients of the law firms will quit if they represent Trump. And this is so un-American. I can't.
Well, no, it's quite American. People are voting with their dollars and their feet. They're not denying him access to these lawyers. If these assholes want to stand up and serve him and they go, look, you won't like all of our clients, but our job is to do the best job we can for everybody. And if you can't be a client for that, I completely understand. Thanks very much. Or they go, nah, I'm not going to lose this client for that fuckhead. That seems to be what's happening.
I mean, this makes the McCarthy era look pretty benign, actually.
I was hoping for a much better analogy than that. Look pretty benign. This is nothing like the McCarthy era. He's not being blacklisted. He didn't pay you, fuckhead. Other lawyers aren't. When people say, I'd love to work for Trump, I think he's innocent, but my family would kill me because we would lose our house because he wouldn't pay us.
Yeah. Well, Rudy is
hypocrites. They claim to be liberals. They're fascist, actually.
And
they claim to be liberals, but they're fascists, actually, because apparently they won't defend Trump in a sexual assault case for free.
Years of looking into the corruption in Ukraine. You've been doing this for years now, and you're
participating in it.
Years of uncovering exactly what's going on there. Can you tell me listen, maybe I'm wrong about Joe Biden. I think he's a dunce. I think he's a really dumb guy, a dim light bulb. I also
Okay, Joey's running into that wall that we've mentioned a couple of times, which is this weird mix of master criminal or bumbling old fuddy-duddy. Is it Mr. Magoo or the Godfather? Which one is it? They both have jowls, I get it, but which one is he?
I think he's potentially a sex offender, maybe even worse.
And you would know, as a potential sex offender and even worse, how would you respond?
So what is it that this guy can possibly have as leverage to stop the entire DOJ from doing the right thing with him and his family?
Yeah, I think, first of all, there's the ridiculous pathological fear of Trump.
Okay.
As if Trump is worse than him. I mean, you compare the two men, and Trump comes out
pretty benign.
Number one compared to Joe Biden.
Right.
Just compare them as fathers and grandfathers. My goodness.
Right.
Number two, it's the.
Okay, first of all, Trump supposedly has two scattered kids and a number of abortions. So fuck off with this nonsense about the grandkid with the Hunter Biden thing until they work that out. That's a family issue, and they'll work it out eventually. That said, the idea that this dude who was like hoping his daughter has tits like his wife and literally gestures like that about it, what the fuck?
Desire for power. And
yes, which Trump has never had. Hence the gold escalator. He whittled it himself out of some hickory.
Number three, it's what a Ukrainian prosecutor, an honest one, told me.
An honest one. You've met one? Obviously, you haven't been there recently, so.
It's not just Biden. He said to me, Giuliani, they're going to try to kill you to doing this because you're going to open up. It's not everybody, but it's more people than they think.
Great. Okay. He's going Jim Caviezel now. Like the whole thing is, it's the fucking Illuminati. It's not Joe Biden. He's a puppet for the lizard people and the Illuminati. The shit.
Well, it's got to be Obama too, right, Rudy? There's no.
Well, it has to be. I mean, it's the Obama-Biden crime family, which, obviously they got money. They had to have gotten money from Kenya or something, right?
Way that Biden's in charge of Ukraine because Obama gave him Ukraine.
This prosecutor told me the Democrats.
Well, that was a stroke of luck, wasn't it?
Democrats used it as a cash cow for about 8 years, and there were some Republicans that what's that thing in The Godfather? Wet their beak.
Mm. And once they do, you own them.
Yeah, once they do, you own them, and then they try to kill you if you try to open it up, which is what they're doing to me.
Okay, so Hunter and Joe are innocent victims, and any of the rhinos that got involved in this and have been dealing with pre-Yanukovych Ukraine, they wet their beaks back then, and so if they try to get out, they'll die. So I would view them as innocent victims. I don't even know why you'd prosecute them. I think you would offer them a deal to help them get out. Maybe put Joe in the witness relocation program, make him work at an ice cream parlor up north.
Remember, it's the DC bar going after me.
Well, yeah, because they have the most evidence on you.
These are the lawyers who make a fortune in the swamp. This is where they make their money.
Yeah, the constitutional law, the place where it's the most important. The SCOTUS is fucking there, dum-dum.
Wow.
Well, Trump threatens all that. That's why they're fighting to the death.
Yeah, yes, he does threaten rule of law, structured society. Yeah, our nation's capital.
It's Rudy Giuliani. Go to Rudy Giuliani CS.
No, that's all right. By the way, it's a 30-minute clip. We don't need to do all that. I just think it's blah blah.